Welcome to Chicago. Hey, we got an exotic car. We got a orange sports car there. So we'll head over to Millennium Park. We'll check out the bean. Sunshine came out, so it was cloudy this morning. But now we're only up to like 36, 37 degrees Fahrenheit, just barely above freezing Celsius. There's the Nutella. People are gathered here. Is that a McLaren? No, it's a Corvette. I thought that was a McLaren. It's a Corvette. They look kind of similar. Hey, Sabrina Suburban Garden. Krista, how you doing? I hope you're having a good Monday. Yeah, at least we got sunshine. Maybe we'll get up to 40. It's kind of cold today. Up and down weather. It's amazing. We got to 77 or upper 70s on Saturday. About the time for the Chicago hinge. I know other areas were much warmer. Arizona was like 100 degrees. There's Garrett's Popcorn. We're Michigan Avenue here, almost to Randolph and Cinnabon. People unloading the trucks. Hey, we'll head into the sunshine. We'll head into Millennium Park. We'll check out the bean, and then we'll head through the do our normal lunchtime walk here. Brent, how you doing? Beach, please. Chris, yeah, thanks for tuning in. Grandma's Corner. Thanks for tuning in there. Prayer, XRT fan. Yeah, Kristen, Sabrina Suburban Garden, very good. Eric, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, thanks, Grandma's Corner. So, yeah, we got the walk here. They're selling the nice keychains and things. Hey, the sunshine's looking good. Did you catch Ernesto caught the Chicago hinge? He did a good job. I think Lux and some other people caught it too. And I think Ken's was able to catch the Shamrock Shuffle. They had a race they have every March around St. Patrick's Day. So this is the Magnificent, well, okay, now you got me. So the Magnificent Mile starts technically at the Chicago River. You might be able to, they call this the Cultural Mile. You might be able to say it starts at Randolph, but this is Michigan Avenue. So everything north of here up to Oak Street Beach is called the Magnificent Mile. So we went on it this morning. I'm south of it. They call this the Cultural Mile, which I think they're trying to build off of the Magnificent Mile, which is mainly a shopping district, upscale shopping district on North Michigan Avenue, with the Cultural Mile, which includes the Art Institute and all these museums along Michigan Avenue, the Spiritus Museum, all the way to the museum campus. So, yeah, good afternoon there, Gailey Hughes. Yeah. Happy start. Yeah, thanks, Susie. How you doing? Hope you're having a good hopefully that answers your question there. Prayers. And Christopher, thanks for tuning in there. How you doing? Yeah, it's got sunshine here in Chicago. There's Pittsfield building. Yeah. So, usual stuff. We'll do the same stuff we always do, but it's my lunch break. It's easy to do this. Most people just tune in to see the time and temperature anyway. We got after the noon hour, about 12:10, 12:15, getting close. We'll approximate. I'm using the YouTube app. It doesn't post the time. I guess there's a way probably to change the setting. I'm just too lazy to do it. Yeah, please subscribe for free. You can subscribe for free. Subscribe before we do even if you're not a Cubs fan, even if you're a Sox fan, we're going to do the Cubs home opener this Thursday. We're going to do the Sox home opener. At least that's the plan. Next Thursday, or April the 2nd. This Thursday, still in March, Cubs open first. We'll take the day off of work. At least that's my plan. And we'll do TikTok in the morning as usual, up until noon, and then noon we'll switch to YouTube. That's my plan. So we'll hit our normal YouTube lunch walk here like we're doing now. Instead of being downtown, we'll be in Wrigley Field. I'm actually planning to go in the game. Got the cheapest ticket possible that wasn't standing room only, because we'll walk around the stadium, we'll check out the views you get in Gallagher Way and stuff, and walk underneath the grandstands, all that stuff, as long as the signal holds out. But I won't be live streaming the entire game. I don't want Ricketts to sue me for breaking any accounts or descriptions of the game without the NFL or the MLB's express consent. It's strictly prohibited. I'm always amazed how every time I go into the Art Institute, they kick me out. And other people post videos in there all the time. They don't kick them out. And I'm just jealous. Same thing happened. There was someplace else that I'm always get kicked out of. Some other influencer, maybe they paid him money to showcase. Oh, I know what it was. I like this person. She's great. She's an architectural student like all of us, or student of architecture. I'm a student of architecture, even though I'm not going to college, and I'm not an architect. But she covered the Driehaus Museum, which is great. But again, every time I buy a ticket there, it says filming strictly prohibited. But I guess she worked out a deal with them that they allowed her to, which I think it's great. I'm glad she covered it. I would cover the Driehaus, but I don't feel welcome there. I'm not high class enough of a person. It's like we went to the Poetry Museum. They made sure I didn't feel welcome there. It's because I was live streaming, and I know they got a bias against live streamers, which I'm like, I was just trying to promote this place, and now I'll never promote it again. Here's because I take it personally. You know, it's like, you know, I don't, you know, I know terms and conditions are terms and conditions, but it just makes you feel bad, like you're less second-class citizen, and I know that's not their intention. But here's the great bean of Chicago. Thanks for tuning in here, Millennium Park, Chicago, Illinois. We got about 36, 37 degrees here on Monday, March the 23rd. And every time I go here, people quickly feel the gap. Everybody comes in and, oh, man in the bean there. Hey, Davo, how you doing? Thanks for the little hearts there. Looks nice, Sheridan. I'm sorry, how's everybody doing? Yeah, Pete's tuning in. Live tea time. If I missed anybody there, appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, they're still making progress on the bar here. This is where the ice skating rink is, Millennium Park, Chicago, Illinois, Michigan Avenue. South at Randolph, there's the Smurfit Stone building. There's the Willoughby Tower. There's the old Montgomery Ward's here. Hey, they're making progress, setting up the bar. So hey, let's head into the loop, and we'll see what's shaking. Yeah, being in Chicago is looking nice in the sunshine. So it's cold today, but at least it's sunny. See, some people not even wearing coats. Yeah, still handsome. That's right. Thanks for tuning in there. Great beat of Chicago. Aon Tower. Yeah, I never been able to successfully do that either. You know, when I cry, the police officer, it makes him angrier. But hey, it's worth a try. Try to cry to get out of a ticket. I know. Sometimes it works. Put on the waterworks. Well, you know, I lessons learned. If I would go back to the Poetry Museum, and if I would have went right to the security right when I went in there and said, "Hey, I'm a live streamer. I'm trying to promote your business," they would have told me that we don't allow live streamers. But at least I would. And I when I went in there, they saw me and they said sign in. So I signed in, and as soon as I signed in, they said get out. But they didn't tell me to get out until I signed in. It's kind of funny how that works. And there's the great bean of Chicago. Here we'll head down to Michigan Avenue. Hey, there's the train pulling out of the station there. That's the Washington Wabash station, a new Calatrava looking station on the Loop of Chicago there. It always amazed me how people cover their face when they get behind me. They get behind me and then they start covering their face like I'm ice or something. It just like two people just walk by and then they covered their face when they were behind me. When I'm filming this way, I don't understand it. I guess they, but hey, we'll head through here. I understand people not wanting to be filmed. I try not to film people. And we just try to show the city here. Here's the Willoughby Tower. Hey, we got the light here, so we'll cross. This is Michigan Avenue. See how you can see the parking entrance there. There's the, you've seen Adventures in Babysitting. There's the Smurfit Stone building. Here's the entrance to the parking garage underneath Millennium Park. There's a green line heading into that same station. I know. No, I know there's no expectation of privacy in public, but people have come up to me many times and they angrily say, "Stop filming me." And I said, we're in public. Just like the guy, he said he was going to call the noise ordinance on me because I was talking too loud. And it's kind of like a male version of a Karen. I know Karen is a pejorative. I don't mean to. We have a lot of friends that are named Karen. If I was named Karen, I wouldn't like being reduced to a stereotype either. But it's just the nature of, you're going to touch some nerves. We notice that people where I work are getting more frustrated and agitated with, stuff in the street. And since, ICE is treating U.S. citizens and non-U.S. citizens very aggressively, we notice people are treating each other aggressively. So it comes from, how you doing?
Big fan.
Oh, good. Thanks for saying hello. That's good. Thanks for saying hello. So you tried the sushi? Was it good? You recommend it? Yeah, that's good. Royo Sushi. Wait, are you? Thanks for saying hello. Appreciate it. Thanks. Yeah, I'm Brian, really Chicago. How you doing? That's good. See, yeah, thanks. Hey, here we go. Yeah, take a picture. How you doing?
Okay,
I got you.
No, that's good.
You want to get a picture with?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'm like a public figure now. How you doing? Thank you. That's good.
I live in Dallas.
Dallas. Good. What? Really? Oh, Kelly. Oh, good. Kelly, you want to say hello, Kelly? Sorry, go. Oh, good. Well, shout out to Kelly. Hey, Dallas. I filmed from Dallas. I've been to Dealey Plaza. So hey, enjoy your Chicago. That's great. That's awesome. See, people saying hello. And hey, we're giving shout outs. That's good. See, there we go. Friends and neighbors, or even from Dallas. And shout out to her sister. And even the delivery guy was like, "What's going on?" I'm always just overwhelmed. I'm amazed that anybody recognizes me at all. This is good. I spent, case in point, see, what's it matter if I cover, it's like show my face. I'm like, it doesn't matter if I show my face or not. People still recognize me anyway. Here's Jewelers Row. So, yeah, we'll head another block south here. We'll head along Wabash. See if we see a train coming by. Normal service, 7 minutes. Yeah, meet and greet. That's it. So, yeah, look at this beautiful facade here. Some of these buildings are really architecturally significant. They have like cast iron, wrought iron columns there. Look at the detail. And one of these is Louis Sullivan. I don't know if it's this one. Yeah, it's got a plaque. So let's see if it's this one. Look how it's got Nautilus themes. It's like a shell on the columns. This is on Wabash. They saved these facades when they built the Heritage. Let's see if it says here. The Jewelers Building, Adler and Sullivan, 1881. This is one of his earliest works. Louis Sullivan. I'm blocking. Go. You gotta get to the. I'm blocking the door there. That's good. So here, 195, the Sonder Building. That's good. So here it is. Only example of the early work of Adler and Sullivan that survives in the Loop. This is the only one that survives, but because later he worked on his own. So they were going to get out of the way of the door there. Maybe I wish they would have put. Well, they didn't want to mess up the facade. So this is This is a Louis Sullivan and Adler building. It's the only one left in the loop here. We always show historic architecture, or try to. And I learn as much as you guys do, because I can't keep it all in my head. My brain leaks. Hey, you got the table out here, the goddess and the baker here. Oops, sorry. Thank you. Hey, you got a record store here. Reckless Records right in the loop. They're all over. You got some on Milwaukee and some on Belmont. Here, we'll get over on the side here. Sushi. You got some Korean food? Good. So, hey, we're going to get the train coming by. Here you go. Here's the CTA Green Line. There we'll cross at Monroe Street. Monroe and Wabash. Eastern edge of the loop of Chicago. The actual loop itself, we're going underneath the train tracks here. Wabash Avenue looking north. And we'll head west on Monroe. Tap the screen, we'll get the shadow here so we won't have to scream in the sun. I've had seasons in the sun. I don't sing the song. Chicago. As Aish asking a question there, let's see. Sell spices. Oh, okay, good. Oh, sell spices on her live stream. That's good. So here's the show must go on. This is the Palmer House Hilton. Every time I go in there, I lose my connection. So you always have to look at the reruns. The reason I can't, it's a pet peeve of mine that people go, they say, you lost your connection. So I'm avoiding going in there because I don't want people to say I lost my connection. And even though I get it back, I just get annoyed. I get frustrated myself because I want to maintain the connection. But every time I go in there, the thick walls, it's such a beautiful lobby. But, you know, watch Lux, Chicago Vista. She has a several part series where she goes in the ballrooms and does the history of the Palmer House Hiltons. And you can check out their website and check out other videos and show how beautiful that is in there. I just can't deliver a good product here. So here we'll cross, we're at Monroe here. We'll cross we're going to cross State Street. We're going to head further west here. See if we make it over to the river. Hey, Chicago, Illinois, State Street, that great street. See some of the commercial buildings. Yeah, this is the Palmer House Hilton. It's a interesting place to stay, a very historic place. This is the third iteration. There was two hotels in the same location. First one was destroyed in the Great Chicago Fire. The second one they tore down to build this one. Here we'll cross State Street. Loop of Chicago, Five Below. Christy and Grandma, Stephanie, Wes, how's everybody doing? Hope you're having a good Monday. Yeah, that really threw me for a loop this morning. I should have expected it. I was short the market, and I got up at 3 a.m. when the pre-market started, and I sold some stuff at a really good profit, but I didn't sell everything. And then I should have known that before the market was going to open that the president would tweet to relieve oil markets, that he wasn't going to destroy the power grid in Iran. Look at the CIBC Theater. Look at the detail. Look at this glazed terracotta tile and the texture. They're showing Hamilton here, and I think there's a plaque. Yeah, there's a plaque here on this building. The CIBC Theater. We're on Monroe Street, loop of Chicago. We point out historic architecture. So the Majestic Building, it's called the Majestic Building and Theater. Edmund R. Krauss, architect, 1906. Early skyscraper, oldest legitimate theaters. Featured vaudeville, drama, and musicals. French Renaissance Renaissance style. Terracotta facade. Schubert family. So it used to be called the Schubert Theater. Now it's called the CIBC Theater. Hey, Carousel. Harry Houdini played here. Harry Houdini, Carousel, and Hair. The musical Hair, the hippie musical. There, now they're showing Hamilton. the CIBC Theater. Look how detailed it is. And it's right here between State. See the Majestic building. They got Hampton. It's a hotel as well, Hampton Majestic Hotel. Right next to the Inland Steel building. This is Dearborn Street in Monroe, Loop of Chicago. We got about 12:25 roughly in the PM. I don't know the exact time. And we got about 38 degrees. So we'll check the construction progress of, I'll have to cross the street anyway. This is the Chase Plaza, Chase Bank building here in the center of the Loop of Chicago, Dearborn Street, the blue line. Federal Plaza is that way. We were talking about it this morning, the Marquette building. And yeah, this is the Inland Steel building. See how it doesn't have columns on the corners. It was very innovative at the time this was built. And the core is on the side. So the elevator's on the side, and these are all free office, like Mad Men there, the Mad Men offices. But in Chicago, not New York. See, Dearborn Station's down that way. Dearborn goes to the South Loop, Printers Row. But here's the Chase building. Loop of Chicago, go by Italian Village. Yeah, Grandma's Corner, how you doing? Here's Italian Village. Yeah, then mixed with the new and old. See, that's what makes cities interesting. You got layers and layers of development, not just the streets. Sometimes there'll be cobblestone streets, brick alleys. Italian Village, it's left over from the Century of Progress. The Italian Village is a restaurant here. And Italian wine dinner there, Tuesday, April the 28th. Three Kings of Italy, featuring Three Kings of Italy. Check them out here, established 1927, 71 West Monroe. So you can have your martini lunch, $8 martinis, Thursdays, 12 to 4 here. Go to the Italian Village here on Chicago Loop. We're on Monroe Street. Here is Clark Street. This police officers crossing Clark Street here. Oh, the bus is blocking the police. There, we've been zapped. We've been zapped by the laser siren. So hey, Clark Street, Monroe. Yeah, we'll go all the way to LaSalle, and then we'll circle around. Hey, you love eating at the Italian Village. Hey, thanks for the good recommendation there. It's better than what I could say. You see people tuning in, they recommend that place. You go upstairs, got an interesting decor. So, Brasserie Raw Bar. Here, Hyatt Centric. Yeah, I think they want to renovate this building for housing, but we'll see. It's the old Harris Trust and Savings Bank. Look at these columns. Yeah, they want to convert this to housing. So it's a lot of buildings along LaSalle Street, like the Field Building. They want to convert to housing. We'll see if it happens. It always amazes me. Every people in the comments, like we showed the 400 Lakeshore, which got a lot of traction. A lot of, like, hundreds of thousands of people have seen that rerun of the 400 North Lakeshore by Navy Pier there that's going. It's over 70 stories tall. People are like, I thought everybody's moving out of Chicago. They can't get rid of it. I'm like, it's a different, it's luxury rental. It's a different market. Downtown is actually gaining population. But yeah, it doesn't help people on the south and west sides or people looking for affordable housing on the north side. Downtown's making everything more expensive for everybody else. And I know people are going to react that to the comments. It used to be no one wanted to live downtown in the 70s and 80s, and now it's the hottest neighborhood in the city as far as new development. And here it is. This is the Board of Trade. So this is LaSalle Street looking south, that famous view you get of the Board of Trade there. Financial district of Chicago. So many movies have been filmed there. And we got reruns of all this stuff. So here we'll head over to, hey, look at this. Latin Roots Catering. You got the train going by there. So we got food trucks. I know we don't have many hot dog stands in Chicago, but finally we got food trucks. There'll be more as the summer goes. But hey, look at that nice little chef. There's your food special. Empanadas. Empanadas. Get some empanadas there. Come on in. Yeah. Very nice. Windsock. Yeah, heat wave. Southwest. It's not just California. It's Arizona, New Mexico. It's the whole Southwest, and even Texas is having that heat wave. That's why we were so warm on Saturday, and you might have been warm if you were in the Great Plains. It got to like 85, 90, like in Kansas. It was amazingly warm weather this week, and even up into the Dakotas and Minneapolis was warmer than Chicago on Saturday, I think, briefly. Yeah, it's hard to see this building. This building is significant, but it's hard to. It gets hidden by the loop, so you don't see it because it's surrounded by taller buildings. Here's the Wells. Here's the Wells that Quincy Stop is there. This is Wells.
Fucking asshole.
Yeah, they almost ran that guy over, and that happens all the time. People use their cars as a weapon, and unintentionally. I know they might not have even seen that guy, and he spit on their car. You see that? The guy spit on their car because they almost hit him. And these are the conflicts of urban areas. I know it makes it stressful. I get stressed out when I drive in urban environments because, especially with bike lanes, I use the bike lanes, and I feel more comfortable on a bike than in a car because bikes make me nervous, and I probably make other people nervous when I'm on a bike too. I know. And you're exposed there as a bike, but that's the risk you take. The same with motorcycles. It's good to probably have protective gear if you cab. I never thought about that. I could get like the motorcycle protective gear for just riding a bike, but it's really hot in the summertime wearing that stuff. So. Yeah, we're all sick of the cold. Once you get to March, everybody wants winter to be over. So there it is. There's the Sears Tower, 1,400 feet tall, tallest building in Chicago. The Sears Tower. We're a block north of it. We're on Franklin, and that's Adams. This must be Monroe here. Yeah, Monroe and Franklin, loop of Chicago. That's the old AT&T building. It's hard to see with the sun. Interplanetary dealers of funky coffee. They're dark matter. It's like physics. What's up? Pilsen, how you doing there? Coco, thanks for... No, don't tell me what to do. You'll learn pretty quick. Don't treat me like a horse. I know that's not your intention. You're giving me suggestions. I'm pretty poor. I literally can't afford a car. I can barely afford where I live. I know you're right. Move out of Lincoln Park, but no, I'm not paying $40 to go to the top of the tower for you. No offense. You could check out other people's reruns. I think Jose Mojica went up to the top of the Sears Tower. There might be other live streamers that have reruns from it. I've gone to the top of the John Hancock. Now I prefer the view of the top of the John Hancock, because you can see the Sears Tower from the John Hancock, and the John Hancock closer to the lake. Here's the Mercantile Exchange. We'll head across. I'll give you another view of the Sears Tower. This is my lunch walk from work. You're going to see what you're going to get. I know people if I happen to be walking by something, it's easy to do, I'll do it, but I'm not going to go out of my way because I'm a jerk. So you're free to watch something else. If I anger you that I don't take your suggestions, I appreciate your suggestions, but this is my live stream. Thanks for tuning in. Here's Wacker Drive looking south. See, there's the Blues Brothers. That's how you get down to Lower Wacker Drive in the center of the median here. And we're almost by the Chicago River. We'll walk behind the Mercantile Exchange here. So hey, look at the feng shui. They got the curves. They got like the soapstones. It's gonna be hard to see because of the sun. Oh, let's get the shadow here. Then try to get a quick view to. There we go. There's the Sears Tower. There it is. And I know I'm not going in, but I'll give you an outside view here. I got to get back to work by 1 o'clock, so I actually have a day job. This is my lunch break, and then at the same time, people will be like, go there, and they'll be like, what are you getting for lunch? Why don't you get lunch? I'm like, yeah, I should end this live and get lunch. Good suggestion. So anybody suggesting I get lunch, I'll end the live in 5 seconds, and everybody in the chat will be angry at you for giving the suggestion. I'm just weird that way. But here we'll check out the Chicago River. I guess because I'm not married, I'm just not used to people being backseat drivers and like saying go here, go there, all the stuff that happens when you live stream. So here, let's look at the Chicago River here. We'll see if we see any boats go by. It's back to being its pukey brownish green color. Of course, they dyed it green for the St. Patrick's Day. We got reruns of all that. See how you can look? You can look below to the Amtrak and Metra rail yards. That's the north side of Ogilvy, and they got one on the south side. We're underneath the Mercantile Exchange Loop of Chicago. We got about 36 degrees Fahrenheit. We're about 1235. There's the old Chicago Daily News building, Riverside Plaza. And we're underneath the people eating lunch there. We're underneath the Mercantile Exchange, largest futures market in the world. Still, there's the Ogilvy station, the old City Corp, but now it's called Accenture Tower. Catch your metro trains there. Hey, Madison Street. We'll head around here. Thanks, Serafino. Thanks for the 100 there. Tom Hawk. Thanks, Serafino. Thank you. Yeah, for a short while there, the rental cars were just as expensive as new cars, but we'll see how long that lasts, especially if they're a gas guzzler now. Hey, the Civic Opera House. Yeah, let's go into the Civic Opera House. This is a nice, see, a lot of times we go over to Riverside, but since the Lake Street Bridge is closed, I'm not going to go that way. We'll head up Wacker here. We'll go under the Civic Opera House. We're about to get the light here. Thanks for the gifts. Thanks, Grandma's Corner and Gailey Hughes and Serafino. Thanks for tapping the screen there, giving me the thumbs up. But yeah, we'll do the Cubs home opener on Thursday. That's the plan. Should be warm weather. It might rain, but it's supposed to be warm that day at least, so it's about the best we can expect. So the Lyric Opera of Chicago. You ever seen Citizen Kane? They use this. Here's your 2025-26 season right here. And hey, look at that. Look at these doors, all the ornamentation. Again, this was built 1928, 1929, right before the Great Depression. They used it in Citizen Kane. His wife sung opera, and she used to play the puzzles in the Orson Welles Citizen Kane's movie. Hey, Frida Diego, Lyric Opera. Here, Madame Butterfly. They're going to do Madame Butterfly at the Lyric Opera of Chicago. And there's offices in there. There's an opera house. It's a mixed-use building. And they got cocktail boutique wine happy hour bar here. Civic Opera Building, Chicago, Illinois. Wacker Drive, south of Madison, north of Monroe, Chicago, Illinois. United States of America, planet Earth, 36 degrees, 2 degrees Celsius. We got about 12:40 in the PM. We'll head up to the Riverwalk and we'll round out our walk that way. Yeah, nice architecture. Thanks for checking it out. No, you're fine, Coco. No, you're fine. You're fine, Coco. No, thanks for explaining yourself. I know that wasn't your intention. It's part of the flaw on the part of me, the moderator. It's just, man, I'm a single man. I've never been married. I know that's not excuse, but I'm not used to, I always rejected authority. I never liked people telling me what to do because I'm an artist. I consider myself an artist more than an urban planner. And you know, and I know that's not your intention. You're trying to give me suggestions. Like, of course, you would like to see me go to the top of the Sears Tower and film, but I want a limited time schedule here because I'm on my lunch break, and I'm on a limited budget because, you know, I don't know why there's this perception that even if you got 100,000 followers on TikTok that you're like wealthy from live streaming. I've been live streaming for about 3 years. I've only made like a few $1,000s over the 3 years. Most of that's from subscriptions, and then they kicked me out of the creator fund, and I make less money now than I made when I had less followers because it was more lucrative to be in the creator fund, and they made it so hard to be in the creator fund. I'm not complaining, you know, I'm not just airing my grievances. I just don't know why there's this expectation that I'm getting rich from doing this. I'm not, and that's not my, obviously that's not my motivation. It's not money because I'm not making money doing this, nor do I expect to. There's, and I do appreciate people that do gifts and subscriptions because it covers my expenses like gimbals and cell phone data plans, and you can imagine how much data we use. You got to have unlimited data to stream terabytes of data and record it to the cloud. But here, Randolph Street and the Chicago River. We're under the Bank of America building. Here's the Bazaar Meats. And think of the weight that's on these three columns. The 1, 2, 3. These three columns with the V's hold up the whole western facade of this 60-story building. And it goes right down to the river. Look at that. Think of the weight. Structural engineers like to show off just like this. It looks that the bottom of the building is narrower than the top. It's like called the tuning for a building. Here's Bazaar Meats. And Jose Andres is the celebrity chef here at Bazaar Meats. We'll head back to Wacker Drive here. Yeah, there's too many content creators. Well, it was bound to happen. You know, it's great. We got a lot of people covering the city, which makes my job easier. You know why? Ernesto and others were able to cover the Chicago Hinge, and like Ken's and others were able to cover the Shamrock Shuffle, which was a race. And yeah, all these cars are turning right because they can't go on Lake Street. So since they can't go on Lake Street, they all got to turn right here on Randolph, and things are backing up, and they honk at people crossing the street because we're detaining them from turning. Here we'll go past the Beatnik, off on the river. Yeah, I don't know. I really cannot afford to eat at Bazaar Meats. I cannot afford to eat at these restaurants, so I really don't know. I have a good job, you know, and I don't eat out like I used to because I simply can't afford to. And I cook at home, but I'm sure it's great. You can check it out online. Maybe they got some good. Talk to Ed Ray. There's some good Chicago food critics. There we go. The eclipse of the train. One train goes one way, one goes the other. Pink line and the green line here in Chicago. This is the Lake Street. Look out the mirror there. Hey, nice dog. How you doing? There, we'll get the merchandise mart. Yeah, that's good. I'm sure even where you live, if there was an earthquake, it would be dangerous. It'd be doubly dangerous if it was here. Yeah. Fortunately, Chicago, we get like little earthquakes. We're not in a huge seismic zone like San Francisco or LA, but downstate Illinois is more in a seismic zone. And the New Madrid fault in Missouri is probably one of the strongest ones. Happened around the War of 1812. It really freaked out Tecumseh and the Cherokees, and they remember it. And Mississippi went backwards, and that was probably the strongest earthquake we've had in this region. It was the New Madrid fault. Happened around the War of 1812, like 1810. And Tecumseh's brother, the prophet, supposedly predicted it, but we don't know for sure. Because he wasn't able to predict his brother's death, but he was able to predict the earthquake. There's the Fort Dearborn. We just missed it. Hopefully we'll see another tour boat head through the river here. So we'll head down to the Chicago River and we'll round out our walk. I usually walk until about around 1 o'clock, and then we head back to work. See, they're working on the Lake Street Bridge. This is the confluence. This is where we watched them dye the river green. Here comes a boat. So there's the merchandise mart. We got a architectural tour boat. Heading east on the Chicago River. Serafino, thanks for tuning in. How you doing? Aisha, yeah. Thanks for the hundreds there. You want to see the pollen? Yeah, we're trying to film the spring flowers. We'll wait till the tulips start blooming on Michigan Avenue. Hopefully that'll happen in a few weeks here. Here's your shoreline sightseeing tour on the Chicago River. Got about 36 degrees. We got about 4:45. Watch the trains go across here. That's the Wabash Bridge over the river. There's your shoreline sightseeing. Go in front of the Salesforce Tower. See, you got the pink line there. Got the brown lines there. And we'll head down to the Riverwalk. Yeah, let's go down this ramp. We'll ramp down. Well, Aisha, hopefully we could cheer you up there. Thanks for tuning in there, and that's why I'm committed to continuing to do the lunchtime live streams on YouTube. Thanks for motivating me to do it. Even on Thursday when we do the Cubs home opener, we'll continue our noon to, I'll probably go to 1:30 until the game starts this coming Thursday. Should be nice weather. What the Chicago Cubs are one of the two professional baseball men's teams we have in Chicago. And they have opening day every spring where it's the first game they play for their 2026 season. And so we'll go up to Wrigley Field. It should be a good time. I plan on taking off work on Thursday. And Ernesto might join us up there and we actually go inside the game. We got a seat. Because I've covered in the past few years, I've never gone in on opening day. I've never, see, that's instead of paying for Bazaar Meats, I use my money to buy a Cubs ticket so you can all see what's going on opening day there. That's where my money's going. It's $100 to get in. Even for standing room only, it's $100, but I actually found a seat like the last row, the top of the upper deck. We'll be under the canopy if it rains. So, hey, here's the large barge. Here's the shoreline sightseeing heading down the Chicago River. So here, let's get down there. Hey, we got one barge goes one way and one goes the other. So we'll check out the architectural cruise boats. Are starting to. And then a month from now, end of April, it won't be until the end of April when they start lifting the bridges for the sailboats. And it usually goes on May, most of the month of May. Even the beginning of June, they'll do it a few times. But here's the barges, architectural tour boats heading down the Chicago River. We got Monday, March the 23rd, 2026, 36 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 degrees Celsius. A little chilly, but at least the sun's shining. So, T-line, tea time. I can't be everything everywhere at once. I understand everybody has their preferences. There's a reason I do things the way I do. I was on TikTok or YouTube for 6 months. But now YouTube says I got too much content. I talked to 2 YouTube representatives. Take it up with YouTube. They said I'm putting too much content on there. They won't push my live stream because I'm putting too much content to YouTube. So I said, fine, I'll go back to TikTok morning and night. And then they were like, they didn't really want me to do that, but they pissed me off, you know. And, you know, all this stuff gets monetized. They basically said they weren't going to pay me for my content. So I'm kind of pissed at YouTube and I'm pissed at TikTok. And here's billionaires and trillionaires, gazillionaires. You know, government gives them tax break, doesn't give us tax break, and then they keep all the money. We got to take this populist anger every time you go to fill up at the gas pump, even if you voted for the current president. Realize he doesn't care. He doesn't care if you got to pay more at the gas pump. You know, I guess it's worth it for security, but I don't feel more secure. I feel less secure. You know, it's like we saw Israel had the Palestinian conflict and we had to create our own. So now Iran's our Gaza Strip, and it's going to haunt us for decades, just like it's been haunting us for decades from '79. But it even haunted us before that, the Shah of Iran. If you don't like Iran, talk to the CIA. You think the CIA gives a crap? You know. There's all kinds of weird stuff going on. Does anybody know any information about the poor woman that was pew-pewed up there by Loyola University? It was by Evanston. It's really weird circumstances around the whole thing. It seems like, you know, they have a person in custody, which I'm glad, but it doesn't make any sense. Why would you kill somebody you don't even know? And there's not a clear motive. And of course, the guy is a Venezuelan migrant, but he might be a patsy. I can't find if they're just trying to pin it on some guy. And it's a convenient story. Of course, the president would love that story, that a sanctuary city like J.B. Pritzker, as he's going to try to run for president, a white woman was killed by a Venezuelan migrant for no reason on North Avenue or on up by Loyola there. And we got to talk about this stuff. I don't mean to bring people down. If I don't talk about this stuff, people say I'm Pollyannish about the violence in the city, which it's not just this city. There was violence in Arizona. There's violence in the Middle East. There's violence in... There was a horrible plane crash today last night at LaGuardia Airport, Air Canada. And it was so unfortunate, a fire engine that was responding to another plane, they had to drive across the runway, and the overworked air traffic controller, and it's not just because of the shutdown, the air traffic controllers have been overworked since Elon Musk has cut their funding because of Doge. So this is bipartisan, you know. It's like almost they're waiting for an accident, and it happened. And everybody's going to blame each other. No one's going to take responsibility, either side. And everybody's to blame. I'm to blame, you're to blame, everybody's to blame. You know, and you can say it's all my fault just by talking about it. Here, let's keep it positive here. I mean, I know I'm not keeping it positive by talking about this stuff, but I have to acknowledge it all because people are going to bring it up whether I talk about it or not. Here's Chicago River here. We're going under LaSalle Street. Chicago River walk. Hope you're having a good day here. Thanks, mods and everybody else. Thanks for listening. We'll, what time we got here? Yeah, we're getting towards 12:50. So I'm just going to head right back to Michigan Avenue. There, look, you can see 400. There's 400 Lakeshore Mather Tower. We're looking towards the lake. River. Yeah, one thing after another. The LaGuardia accident. So this is where the Eastland disaster happened. Historically, we talk about that. That happened in like 1915, I think. Almost 800 people perished here. Yeah, what politician ever took responsibility? That's why I'm like, you know, so we're used to all politicians lying to us. You know, the current president, former presidents, you know, everybody couldn't stand Biden, but this current president's lying to us a lot. He said he wouldn't get us involved in foreign wars, and what's he do? Couldn't resist. And just when you think you're out, he pulls you back in. He's going to try to find the off-ramp, some way to declare victory, but as long as the Straits of Hormuz remain closed, and you know, what if the Houthis try to shut down the Red Sea, or the you know, the strait that goes up to the Sinai, the Suez Canal. And sometimes it's easy to start a war, it's not easy to end a war because the enemy keeps on fighting. And think about this. Am I overly simplifying? Think of Kushner and his buddy there, the other hedge fund guy, real estate guys that they have negotiating. They were negotiating with these people and they just killed them. And so why would you negotiate with someone that killed the people that were negotiating before? You know, and so we know that it's BS. The president says all talks are going. Iran says we're not even negotiating. He's lying to your face. Now you want to believe the lie? Yeah, you want to believe that the president's control the world, can control gas prices, and you know, can save you from, you know, wokeness and everything you fear. But there's going to be life after this president. We're going to have to live with the consequences of this administration for years to come, just like we had to live with the consequences of Clinton, Bush, Obama, Biden. It's still the same continuum of the same problems. And, you know, you pick one charismatic leader to solve all your problems, and then, you know, after 4 years or whatever, he ain't going to live forever. And America's much bigger than any president. So here, we'll keep heading on Chicago Riverwalk. Hopefully things get better. And we pray for our troops in harm's way. We got to keep the focus on the brave people that are asked to sacrifice on our behalf, military families. Every time, how many times we keep asking these people to do stuff, and then have a president that look at John. Okay, I have to mention this. I don't mean to just bash the president all day long. I know it drives people nuts that differ with me politically that I vent this way, but Robert Mueller served with distinction in Vietnam War. He was a Vietnam War veteran, had a bronze, you know, all kinds of medal for bravery. He served as a FBI director, bipartisan. He was nominated by a Republican. He was nominated by George Bush II to serve as the FBI director. Served all through 9/11. He was nominated just before 9/11 unanimously. Congress unanimously approved him. And the current president says this is an American patriot, someone that yeah, he was born as a blue blood, but he's still, like John Kerry, he fought in the Vietnam War when he didn't have to. Like Bill Clinton didn't do it, and the current president didn't fight because he had bone spurs. Robert Mueller fought, risked his life, even though he's born into wealth and privilege, just like Donald Trump. That was a stupid war. I don't blame anybody for not fighting in that war. My dad didn't want to fight in that war either, and he was drafted. But to celebrate the death of an FBI director that served bipartisan with distinction is this dishonorable way for a president to act. And I don't deserve to be president because I don't have the correct temperament to be president. And I won't say anything more about the current president, except for what he just read his quote about Robert Mueller. You want him to write your epitaph at your funeral? Thank God he didn't say that about Jesse Jackson. Man, here is here's the Chicago River. Hey, look at that green. So here's Dearborn Street. Thanks for tuning in. How's everybody doing here? Hope you're having a good day. Welcome to Chicago. Here's the Poseidon Adventure. Remember the Poseidon Adventure? There was a movie about that. The Flaming Inferno, all these disaster movies that came out in the 70s, and then we did them in the 90s and 2000s. Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence, she said there was no direct threat against the American homeland. She said it. I didn't say it. This is the current administration that said it. And then she wouldn't say it out loud. She wrote it down because she was afraid her boss was going to get mad when he saw her saying that. Everybody's dancing around. Don't anger the big guy there. Yeah. But here, look at the Wrigley Building. There's the Trump Tower. Here's the old IBM. Look how you can look up to the John Hancock. So here, we'll head over to Michigan Avenue and we'll round out this live. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening to me vent here. I got to talk about something. This is stuff on our mind. Again, our hearts and thoughts go out to the pilots of the Air Canada tragic accident at LaGuardia Airport. And we pray for our troops in harm's way being asked to risk their lives to lower our gas prices. Is that what we're fighting this war for? It's not funny. Here's State Street. Yeah, it looks like a big middle finger. I know. That's essentially how most people think of it. For years, I have to walk by this tower, and people would make fun of me. If I didn't film it, they would bash me. They would say his name, invoke all this thing. I don't see people doing it now because I'm gonna lash right back into you if you do it now. You can like that guy all you want. You can have him. So someday this will be gone from this tower. We might have to wait a few decades, but someday it'll be removed. And we'll celebrate that day. And then we'll see where all the supporters are at that day. Hey, New Mexico, how you doing there, Bob? Yeah, J U-boat. We'll remember J U-boat. So J U-boat, why are we fighting against Iran? You know, do you want to say something bad about Bob Mueller? Do you want tell us what you really think about Bob Mueller there? Do you agree with the president? You think you're glad he's dead? You wish death on your enemies? You probably wish death on me. We'll remember you. J U-boat. My dad fought in Vietnam. My dad was drafted. You gonna say something bad about my dad? Go ahead there. Yeah, look at that, Manuel. I like your comment there. Yeah, Country Joe McDonald. Country Joe and the fish. Yeah, we'll go back to the hippies. I'm gonna turn on, tune in, and drop out. You know, I'm not a Democrat either. It's so funny. Everybody, you can call me a liberal. Yeah, I lean to the left. You can stereotype me as a liberal, but I'm pretty mad at the Democrats too. And I ain't gonna win any sympathy from people that like Donald Trump. They're still gonna call me a pathetic loser because a lot of Trumpists have to look down on somebody. It feeds right into the racism. If your whole social order resides on white Christian privilege, that's all we need to know where you're coming from. So it makes sense you got to look down on me because you don't agree with my opinions. And when have Americans ever agreed about anything? What? You only can be friends with people that agree with everything you say? What world do you live in? You know, I can't go to Thanksgiving dinner. I'm the minority in my relatives. Most of my relatives are Trump supporters, and I still love them. I still love you. You know, what does Jesus say? Love your enemies. You know, I don't see this guy. He hates his enemies. Very Christian of him. But we're used to Christian hypocrisy because there's a lot of Christian hypocrisy. Been living with it my entire life. So here we'll cross Michigan. This is Wacker Drive. So Christian hypocrisy. Yeah, we'll chalk this up. Everybody calls himself a Christian and they murder foreign leaders in the name of God. Pete Hegseth invokes the name of Jesus Christ from the Department of War. Onward, Christian soldiers. Yeah, blame me, the messenger. You know. We're going to start the Crusades here. Here's the London House. Here stood old Fort Dearborn, Potawatomi. Hey, Michigan Avenue, we'll head back to work. But hey, we'll look forward to that Cubs home opener on Thursday. And we'll head by the sports corner here, the sports store. Again, I am not trying to recommend I could do better. I probably would do worse than Donald Trump. You hear what I'm saying? I'm not trying to armchair quarterback. You're allowed, Americans always have pushed back against any administration. You know, when have Americans just lay down and accept, you know, here, look, there's Benny the Bull there, Chicago Cubs. You know, so you could hate my guts, you could hate what I say. Why are you watching? Why are you watching my channel? You just want to have an argument. And I'm used to that. And I bring it on by just talking about this stuff. If I don't talk about it, it acts like things are normal. We're not living through normal times. You never are. There's always something to discuss. If you think this is complaining, wait till I really complain. My mods and audience know when I'm really complaining, I'm yelling. I'm not even yelling. Man, you're a bunch of conservative snowflakes. Look at all the conservative and MAGA snowflakes in the chat there. They can't deal with anything that bothers their worldview. And you whine and I whine. President whines. President whines every day. Here, let's go down to the streets below the streets. So here you see how here's the Wrigley and the Tribune, Michigan Avenue. We'll head underneath the other side. But hey, thanks everybody for checking out our live stream. Thanks for listening to my rant there. Hopefully everybody's, and you know, believe it or not, you might not agree with my say, but other people, they don't agree with everything I say, but they agree with some things I say. And I say this so we're not alone. We're not everybody's MAGA. Not everybody accepts the party line. not everybody's cheering on what's going on. So people need to know that other people are questioning what's going on. I do it for them, not you. We're going to get people that disagree with what I say. I expect that. That doesn't bother me one bit. Here's the unhoused population under here in Michigan and Wacker. We'll head back up to the sun. Hey, just showing you the lower levels. You ever seen the Blues Brothers or Transformers or Batman? They filmed some of the scenes down here. And okay, so I'm gonna head back to work. We'll see you after 5 o'clock on TikTok. Thanks everybody for the gifts, likes, and follows. Thanks for listening. And hopefully, yeah, you know, if I angered you with any of the comments, get used to it. We're gonna film the No Kings on Saturday, and you can just watch something else, or you can watch me and troll me. It still boosts my algorithm. So, okay. Thanks a lot. See you, everybody. Have a good day. Thanks a lot. We'll see you after 5 on TikTok. Thanks, everybody. 161. You guys are great. Thanks, mods. See you, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.